All right, everybody. Now I promised this on the main show. I definitely just didn't get to it because my Monday at work was an absolute disaster. But that's okay. We will still bring you all the info we said we would. So, on the phone with me right now, he was in Vegas, living that sweet life. It's our weekly, kind of still pro-ish rider, Eric Grondahl. Hey, bud.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
It's Tuesday here now, so yeah. So you were in Vegas here for these finals. Let's hear it. Let's hear all the juicy details. Hanging out in the pits, everybody you fist bumped. What was the food like in the suite? Did security come after your dad? What do we got going on here? I feel like there's a lot of stories we need to talk about.
Oh man, yeah, there is quite a bit. First of all, the racing was kind of boring, to be honest.
Thank you. Thank you.
Other than the first moto with Tomac and Jet, that was pretty cool. And then the second moto, Deegan coming through the pack, that was cool. But other than that, that track was garbage.
Yep.
There was nowhere to pass. Nowhere. It was just a bunch of 90-degree corners, just switchback super tight. Like pretty much the only way to pass someone is if you like somehow stayed on their rear fender and then just like absolutely annihilate them in a corner. That was about the only option out there.
Yeah.
So that sucked. Or if somebody makes a mistake, like when people were missing that quad rhythm, especially in the 250 class, some passes could happen then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it hot?
Yeah, it was pretty friggin' warm. I mean, I'm used to like East Coast heat, so it's usually like more humid.
Okay.
So whenever I go out west and it's hot, it's just like that really strong sun feeling.
Okay. And
I was like, wow, I was outside for 20 minutes and I felt like I got a sunburn, and I did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I stayed inside the suite as much as I could out of the friggin' sun, that's for sure.
What's the food menu? What's the food menu look like in the suite? What was what do we have going on?
It was like some sort of salad, which I don't eat salad, so
that a boy. I like you more now. All right, cool.
And then there was pulled pork, which was good, and then burgers, which they were okay. I'm pretty spoiled. I eat a pretty clean diet when I'm at home, so eating those pre-made burgers didn't taste too great, but that's about what I expected.
Yep.
So it's not a big deal. Our sweet person that was just like there like to watch over everyone, he was a cool dude, so shout out to him, Richie.
Cool.
And then yeah, it was a good day though. I think it's cool that you don't need a pit pass there. Like everyone's just allowed in the pits if you have a ticket.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty cool. You don't need like a special monster can or anything like that, because I was pretty nervous showing up with like just sweet tickets. I was like, man, like I'm gonna be real bummed if we're showing up to watch practice and we can't even get into the pits to go say what's up.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I thought that was cool. Yes, security was in our suite.
You don't say.
It was awkward because like they came in and there was like 3 of them, and one of them wasn't a security guard. It was the chick from Feld.
Oh, okay.
His daughter or whatever.
Okay.
And they were all in there just like watching us.
Like didn't say hi or anything, just awkwardly standing in the corner?
Didn't say a word. Yeah, like they were just standing there just like staring at all of us, watching us. And they tried saying that my son was recording live and like live streaming. And I'm like, he barely cares about dirt bikes. Like, I can promise you he has not done anything. And that was their excuse for reasoning as to why they were in there. But really, it was because Cooksey had people sending him videos.
I saw this.
And yeah, and then he was posting them saying that he was there but in disguise because he was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
My dad had 3 tickets for him and then two other people that were with him, and they came and confiscated them from him.
God.
They deactivated his tickets when they found out that my dad screwed up and transferred them in Cooksey's name.
Yeah.
So as soon as they saw that in the database, they canceled all 3 tickets that were on his phone.
Holy smokes. What?
And
yeah. Oh man, this is getting intense here.
Yeah, so then he just kept posting those videos just to fuck with them on Instagram.
Yeah, I was following that saga all weekend because I was like, oh, this is interesting here. And then I started seeing those videos and I'm like, holy crap, did he really go in disguise? Like that's pretty ballsy there. Like I'm impressed with that. Like I'm impressed that he had a disguise good enough to get in. And then the camera would always turn around and it's like somebody different. I'm like, wait a minute. After about the second one, I was like, oh, I see what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Oh man. It's like a game. It's funny, but I'm sure they don't think it's funny. But
no, they definitely don't think it's funny. I mean,
but whatever.
He hadn't even done anything wrong yet.
Hey, look, I'm just over here trying to be a positive Patty. All right, it's been great.
Yeah.
I don't need to get my tickets taken away. All right, I'll just
it's
whatever.
I know.
I'm just I'm just over here. But that is very interesting to say the least. So was Coach there? Because I heard he was going. I haven't talked to him if he was there. Okay, cool.
Yes, he was there.
Which is super interesting because I've been trying to get him to go to a race for years now, and he's always like, "Oh no!" And then he's like, and then your dad was like, "Yeah, Coach is coming." I was like, "What? What do you mean Coach is coming? This is bullshit. He doesn't come to races with me."
Yeah, yeah, no, he was there.
Huh. Well, that's cool.
Had a fresh haircut and all.
Oh, I'm going to text him later and be like, so you're trying to get lucky in Sin City there, eh? Oh, man, that's awesome. But they thought your son was live streaming, huh?
That was the excuse that they used, was that he was live streaming. Well, to be honest, I was like, oh, shit, like, they're going to come up here and friggin' kick my dad out because he was smoking weed outside of the box.
God, I love Big Mike. Fuck the rules.
Yep.
Oh man, God, that fuck you money is awesome. Holy shit, that is fantastic.
We did look it up. It's legal. It's legal in Vegas. So
yeah. Oh yeah, there's.
He was like, all right. He's like, well, if it's legal, then they can't do anything, right?
I don't know how those rules work. I'm Switzerland over here with that. I don't know.
He did it like during opening ceremonies.
Yeah.
So it was like super loud. So it was like kind of like people weren't really paying attention. Everyone was watching what was happening down on the track.
Yeah.
And, but then literally like after the first gate drop, the security showed up and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, this is not good.
Oh man.
But yeah, then they just hung out in there. Like I wanted to turn around and be like, can we help you?
Like the whole race?
What the fuck? Yeah, dude, they were there. No joke. The whole entire 250 moto. Nobody said a word. Nobody said a word. They just stood there.
I feel like we need to work on them if they're gonna be mean mugging people. I think we need to work on this here because just the walking in and standing there awkwardly is weird.
Yeah.
Can we at least say hi? This is why we're here. Like,
yeah.
What a weird thing. What a weird situation.
They just kept like, one of them kept like leaving and coming back in and then like whispering stuff. And we were just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and then finally they they grabbed, because my dad couldn't put the box in his name because he thought that they might not let him.
That was about to be my next question.
Yep. So it was in another guy's name, and so they pulled him aside and we're talking to him, asking questions, and then he finally told us why they were there and that they thought that Landon was live streaming it. And I'm like, yeah, bullshit. They just made that up.
First off,
he didn't even have his fucking phone out. Like,
first
come
off,
on.
are they tracking your kids' social media? That's a little intense there.
Yeah, that would be wild.
So, what a weird thing.
But yeah, that was about the most exciting news from the weekend, I feel like.
Huh. All right. Well, back to racing action.
Yeah, back to the racing.
All right. So, Deegan and Jet repeat.
Yep.
No real surprise there, I guess.
No, Jet's pass on Tomac was pretty insane.
Dude, that scrub over that box, nuts.
I called it too. As soon as I saw him pull up to his rear tire going over that double, I was like, he's gonna send it right here and he's gonna pass him. And then sure enough, he friggin' like launches off that like roller before the big single.
Yeah.
And then just scrubs the shit out of the single right past him. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that I was a little nervous there that he wasn't gonna get Eli. And then about the third time that he went from like 3.5 seconds down to like 1.5 seconds in like 2 corners, I went, oh no, we're just picking a spot. I got it. Okay, cool. Good. We're good.
Well,
we're good.
No, I don't know if it showed it on TV or not because I didn't watch it back, but Eli did miss that quad rhythm 1 lap, and Jet went from like a decent amount behind him to right on his rear wheel.
Yeah, but Jet pulled him a couple of times, though, like pulled him back in at least a couple of times during that race.
Jet was obviously faster. I'm not saying he wasn't faster. I'm just saying Eli did miss. He did make a couple mistakes towards the end of that moto that allowed Jet to really get on him.
Can we talk about the first lap of that second moto when Eli jumped over Hunter because he checked up? Because that was crazy.
Dude, that was so scary.
I really thought Eli went like a 5.
I literally clenched my seat like with my hands. I was like, oh my God, this is not going to be good.
He's gonna die.
Because I was like, this is gonna be like what happened to Chase, but even worse.
Yeah.
Because Eli was friggin' quadding.
I will tell you, the English Eli, like we didn't even talk about this on the main show because I forgot we were getting into other stuff. But the English that he put on that bike to basically go from left to right and miss Hunter, I was just like, holy shit. That was impressive.
Yeah, that was a very lucky situation for everyone involved.
Yeah. Yes, it was. So
for Eli, Hunter, and the whole rest of the pack behind him.
Yes, because that would have been like instant red flag with probably more. You want to know who would have landed on Hunter and died? Would have been Phil. Phil would have totally been the one to land on him after he gets landed on and then also die. So
yeah. Speaking of landed on, dude, for Chase and Barsha to not go down, either of them,
dude, that is
crazy.
That is brick shithouse strength there with Chase. That's all there is to that. Because everybody else falls off their bike there, guaranteed.
Easily.
That was
friggin' scary.
It was scary.
I'm glad he's at least somewhat okay.
Yeah.
His hand's gotta be broken though. There's no way it's not.
Okay, can we talk about it though? Like, that was a dumb fucking move, right? For him to just like, oh, I'm gonna turn right here in traffic. I know he's your buddy.
He is my boy. But to be honest, I don't think he did anything wrong. I think anyone else would have done the same exact thing, because if you look at where he was towards the right side of the track. It's not like he was in the middle of the track and went like way right. He literally was on the line to just roll and go inside, and he just had one person on the inside of him. So he was literally doing exactly what that person was doing, but he had no idea that Barcia was behind him on the opposite rhythm.
Yeah, okay.
So I think that's one of those just like, it's just a shitty situation. Like you can tell anyone, and I know all the keyboard warriors are like, oh, well, just roll it and go straight. But when you're in that situation and you know, like, picture yourself on Chase's bike and you're about to single into this corner and you're towards the inside of the track. You're not all the way inside, but you're like center right side of the track. You're not on the left to go outside and hit that double. So no matter what he does, if he just goes straight, he's just going straight into no man's land because he's going to hit the end of the outside berm and potentially collide with someone there, or and then go over to the inside, which is what pretty much everyone's going to do, as you see the guy right next to him doing, because he doesn't want to turn left. Like, it would either be go straight to the end of the berm and then try and cut people off and roll the double, or turn left to then turn right. So it's like no matter what he did, he was pretty much screwed without, just going perfectly straight. But I think even if you watch the video in like super slow-mo, you can see that he really didn't move that much. Barcia still would have landed on him even if he went dead straight. Now, he wouldn't have landed on his head, but he would have landed on his throttle still. Instead of Barcia's, what was it, his rear tire? I'm pretty sure it was his rear tire that landed on Chase's like back.
Yeah.
And so if you move Chase 6 inches to the left, Barcia's rear tire is going to land on his throttle. And now I don't think Barcia's at fault for anything. It was just one of those shit happens
incidents,
situations in the chaos on the first lap.
Yeah.
When they're in, 5th or 6th place, somebody gets off rhythm, and then it's just how it works out, unfortunately.
It goes back to a shitty start.
Yeah. And was it even that shitty?
I don't know.
I thought he was in like 4th or 5th.
I'll be honest.
He was still pretty far up there.
I'll be honest, I didn't pay that close of attention to it because by the time I was even remotely thinking about it, he was getting landed on, and that was the story. So
yeah, I think he was in like 5th. Either way, it wasn't where he needed to be. He needed to be 3rd, no worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. So,
but yeah, for me, in my eyes, thinking about that in a race situation, I mean, I personally would have done the same exact thing that Chase did. And I think you ask 90% of the racers out there, they're going to say the same exact thing. He barely went to the right. It wasn't like he made a sharp corner and cut over at the last second. He literally just slowly faded over. And yeah.
All right. I'll let you have that one.
That's how I see it. I always try and think of stuff like that, like in the heat of the moment, in the race situation. It's not like when Dungey cleaned out Stu, because Stu cut down on the very outside of the corner and was basically coming into the other lane to cut down.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like one of those situations.
Yeah, I don't know. I was pretty. You've explained it a lot better, and now I'm gonna have to go watch it a couple more times because I was pretty heavy on like, dude, Chase, you can't turn right in the middle of the pack there. But
so that was my initial thought before seeing the video. I'm like, oh god, like why did he do that? And then I watched the video and I'm like, he really didn't move that much. I'm like, by where he got landed on, and if he just went dead straight, he was still getting landed on no matter what he did. Unless he turned left. But then again, there was probably someone on the left that would have landed on him.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It sucks because it's like, okay, he drifted right. Well, the lane was only 8 feet wide anyway, so it didn't take much to drift one way or the other because that track was super fucking narrow everywhere.
Dude, that track was so narrow. I was looking at it and I was like, is this like more narrow than normal? Because this is ridiculous.
Go watch the broadcast. So if you go watch the broadcast, and it's very apparent, the that rhythm lane that was like the 5 jumps or whatever before you came around to the thing there to go across the start straight. So they had overhead shots of it, or like high up shots, and that rhythm section is twice as wide as the straightaway going back the other direction. And I'm just like, is this a joke? Like, this is really what we're doing, is we got a 25-foot wide rhythm lane next to a 12.5-foot wide. Like, this doesn't look good because we're staring straight at it. Like, I don't know. There's been a lot of talk from a lot of different people that these SMX races, if you want it to be this big grand thing, we need to have better venues per se.
Yeah.
Which, like the Charlotte,
or just make the. I don't like who's designing these tracks. I looked at that track when I got up to the stands, and I was just like, "Well, this is going to be an extremely one-line track."
Yeah.
And they just make those like switchbacks so that you just start outside, cut inside, fade to the outside, and then repeat through the whole section. So there's only one fucking line. It's not that hard to figure out how to make a friggin' racetrack.
Well, I mean,
really not.
The big problem is that we go to these drag strips, right? That are 4-lane drag strips, but you have to go over the fucking wall. So you can't build a bowl turn there because you got to go over the fucking wall. So now it's
even where they could have built bowl turns, they didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why? Why are you not building bowl corners? We need passing opportunities.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was great that. Okay, I'll run down the 3 here. Charlotte, I think, is a fine venue. I haven't been there yet, but that track seems to be okay-ish when we're there. So, like, I'm gonna say
I felt like last year's Charlotte was good. This year's one sucked.
Okay.
But I think last year's one was good.
I didn't feel that this year's was that bad, but whatever. I think the venue itself is okay, so like I'm gonna go with it. We'll just go with that one.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You go to Dallas, that whatever we were trying to hit, which I think was a more outdoorsy feel, that wasn't it.
Yep.
That wasn't it.
Yep.
Between the dirt and the heat and everything, that wasn't it. On top of that, you look at those stands, there wasn't anybody there. Like terrible attendance as far as I could tell. Then you go to Vegas here, and it's like track was really meh. Like looked fun. Everybody said they had fun riding it, but again, super one line, not very racy, whatever. On top of the narrowness, and then you've put into the fact of like you're at a place for your world finals, and it's 18,000 people. Like,
yeah.
I just feel like we need to do, and Mathis on Pulp is preaching this too, and I 100% agree with him. It needs to be better. It needs to be more grand. It needs to be, I mean, did you have a problem last year? So last year I felt like we had, Charlotte was a good mix of supercross and motocross kind of put together. You went to Chicago, was very motocrossy, and then we went obviously to LA, which was basically a supercross track without whoops. Did you have any issues with that as far as like, because I mean, if we're doing super motocross, which is both, I feel like if you got 3 rounds, you got 1 round that's basically this, 1 round that's basically that, and 1 round that's a mix. I didn't have any issues with it as far as that went.
I think last year's series was much better. I felt like Chicagoland, I think that is kind of the pinnacle of super motocross. I think that should be what every track kind of looks like.
Okay.
I feel like they did a great job there.
Yep.
The dirt was good.
Yep.
They made plenty of passing options. And And then obviously LA, that was decently good for passing. I felt like guys were able to come through the pack there. It's so long ago, it's hard to think about. I just remember being super stoked on the Chicagoland round last year. I thought that was a good track.
That track,
It was wide.
Yep.
For one, it was very wide.
Yep. They had that cool section where they went up the embankment into the top and then raced along the top of the track and then came back down, which again created like some outdoor vibes feel. You were right. It got rough, which I think was a little bit weather dependent because we did get some rain on Friday last year. So that helped with keeping moisture in that dirt and making it really, really work. But and then I think we need to try to find some sort of stadium to go to, which I know is hard because we've got, with the time of year, we got baseball, we got football going on now. So like finding a stadium or something where we can build maybe like a somewhat oversized supercross track-ish, kind of like the LA Coliseum. I think we need to try to figure something out like that to be able to really pull this together. I don't mind. I know the season's too long. That's a whole nother debate. But if we're going to keep doing this, I don't mind the SMX stuff, but it's got to be worth it. And this year, I don't feel like we quite hit it with the 3 rounds like we did last year.
Yeah, I agree. I forgot. I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was gonna say, to be honest.
So that's just my thing is like, look, if we're gonna do this and it's gonna be this big grandioso thing, the world championship, the 3-round playoffs, whatever, it's gotta really have. And I felt like Charlotte had playoff vibes, and then I felt like we lost that with the last 2 rounds. I felt like we came in really hot, really good, really prime on these playoff vibes. Vibes were high, and then we lost it. So hopefully we'll see. I think we're supposed to have the full schedule, including SMX, by the end of the week here. So I'll be interested to see what that is.
Yeah, 18 Supercross rounds. Yay.
What do you mean?
It's 18 rounds in 19 weeks.
Get the fuck out of here. I heard the schedule.
Swear to God.
I heard that schedule that got leaked was it.
There's 32 rounds next year. So Feld and MX Sports and everyone's just giving a big middle finger to Jet, Chase, and everyone else that was complaining about too many rounds.
But I had heard... Okay. I'll have to go look, because I know they released the first 4 yesterday. Did they release...
I was told that's final, so...
Yeah, that schedule that got leaked, I was told that was it, except for Daytona would go on there, but there was a Feld document that was leaked, so that's why it wasn't on there at that point. But there was only 16 rounds on there.
Yeah, nope. 18 rounds in 19 weeks.
That's exciting.
Yeah. I feel so bad for those dudes.
I do too. And then you look at it and it's like, okay, cool, like the attrition rate just keeps going up. Like we got lucky that we kind of got through Supercross okay, outdoors wasn't too bad, and we got some people back, but then you get in these SMX rounds and it's like, okay, cool. So now we fucked up Stu, we fucked up Chase, we fucked up RJ, we fucked up Barsha's still hurt. AP, I mean, like, just keep running down the list there of guys that are injured-ish.
Well, I mean, look at any other sport. Our guys are doing 32 rounds.
Oh, yeah.
MotoGP, actually, I don't know MotoGP, but MXGP is like 22.
Yep.
They're anywhere from 18 rounds to 22. It depends on the year.
Yep.
And then F1... it's like 22, and their drivers are already complaining about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure MotoGP is very similar to MXGP.
Yeah.
I believe it's in the low 20s, like that. And then you've got our guys doing 32 weekends, and everyone's like, all the fans are like, oh, why is this guy always hurt, or why does this guy get hurt? Well, gee, I wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like, even the some of the 250 guys feel like it's too much racing, and they're only doing half the Supercross season.
Yep.
I think all the riders need to they need to create a riders union and just say, hey, we're not racing.
Yeah.
Like, make it X amount of rounds and do that, or we're not racing.
The thing
It'll never
is,
happen,
well,
but it needs to.
I wouldn't, dude. So I don't know if I'd say that as much anymore. So back when they tried to do it the first time or whatever here with Reed and Stu and them, the problem is that not like everybody didn't get along and be as buddy as they are nowadays, you know, and take that for whatever it's worth. Nowadays, I feel like everybody's way more friendly with each other, so that if you had a couple people like, say, Jet and Chase were like, who obviously were very vocal at that press conference a couple weeks ago. If you have a couple of those guys like that who are the top of the sport who say, look, guys, this is too much. We need to stage a sit-in, or whatever, however you want to call it. We need to go on strike. I think it would be rather easy for them to pull together most of the top 10 to 12 factory dudes at least and say, look, we're all not going to race, and till they agree to terms which are less races. So, and I know I had Stanton on a few weeks ago, and he was like, these guys are all pussies. I used to race 50 times a year or whatever. And I agree. You raced a lot. You raced a lot back in the day. But here was the thought I had after that, because I was thinking about that one day when I was re-listening to the show. I was like, here's the thing. You had way less rounds that actually mattered that you were getting paid for. And what I mean by paid is not show up money. Okay? Like, you get paid for Paris, you get paid for Australia, you get paid for any of those over there. But you don't got to try as hard, so you're not training, you're not locked in, you're not anything. You show up, you're the pinnacle of the sport anyway, so like, you're going to dominate this race more than likely anyway. Or B, you get show up money, so if you decide the second night, like, oh, I'm kind of tired, my wrist is sore from last night, I'm not going to ride, then you just don't fucking ride. We're like, these 32 rounds, it's like, no, you got to show up and ride.
Yep.
So, and you got to try because they want you to try. And then, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing. Like I said, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think we need to go 15 Supercross, 8 to 10 outdoors, and the 3 playoffs.
Yep, I agree.
So that's a whole nother thing. All right, couple other things here before we let you go. Thoughts on MXON here with Cooper Webb and Tomac going now?
I mean, I feel like we've got a decent chance at least.
Yeah.
I feel like Cooper is the biggest question mark, being on a 250F after not racing them for so long.
Yeah.
I personally think that he'll do well, but obviously it's one of those things that it just can go either way.
I think there's a couple of dudes over there, Lucas Kunin, Kai DeWolf, that I don't think he has a shot at beating at all. The rest of them, I'm kind of like, I find it a toss-up because, I mean, let's face it, Cooper Webb's not an outdoor specialist on a 450, but he was good on a 250, bro. He beat Hurlings on a 250.
Yeah.
So, and I know it's been a lot of years, but he's a gamer. He likes that 250. This could be interesting.
Well, and he feeds off people doubting him, too.
100%. I mean, look, dude, it's kind of become public knowledge. He was supposed to go to Hawaii on a family vacation. He basically looked at his wife and was like, nope, we're not going. We're going to do this now. And like, it cost him a bunch of money to cancel that vacation, I guess. So he's not going to play around here. He's pissed. So
doesn't get more American than that.
No, that's and I think the vibes will be good with him because he likes AP, and I think him and Eli get along pretty okay. So he'll be in a good headspace. Eli, I think he will do well because I do kind of think that he has a bone to pick with not only this race but kind of the whole like, look, I'm going to show everybody I can still fucking do this, which I think is kind of part of what happened during SMX here. Of he's like bro, like don't get me wrong, I still think Jet beat him down there that first one. He looked a little down there on the podium after that first one, kind of like, I don't know if I can really beat this kid here. But I still think he's got a bit of a bone to pick here with racing, and he's not done yet, obviously. So
yeah, I think he'll be good. I'm not worried about him.
I mean, I would like our chances a bit better if we had Sexton, Eli, and Webb going, and I'd like our chances even better, obviously, if we had Deegan going instead of Webb. But
he has he was showing some speed there that first 450 moto.
He has been showing some since the outdoors.
Either way, I was like, okay, and I was like, good, he's still got it, because at the end of outdoors, he was shredding.
Dude, I remember at Ironman, I don't know if I said this to you, every time he was on the track, I was like, dude, AP is flying. So.
Yep. Yeah, we just need that AP to show up, and we'll be good.
Yeah, because with him being in the MX3 class, that class is slightly easier than MX1. MX1 has all the hitters.
Yeah,
so
we need him to beat Hunter.
Yeah, basically. If he can beat Hunter,
Wait,
I think.
Who's Australia's 250 guy? You know?
Kyle Webster.
Kyle Webster?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he'll be okay. But I don't think he beats Webb, to be honest with you.
No, definitely not.
Like he was good when he was over here racing this summer, because I saw him ride at Redbud, and like he rode okay. But I don't think he beats Webb.
Yep. You know what? I was kind of surprised that they didn't put Justin Cooper on a 250F.
So that was who they called originally. They called for Justin Cooper to go back and ride it, but Justin Cooper has a cracked collarbone.
Oh, geez.
I didn't know he was going to ride this weekend, to be honest with you, because the last thing I had seen was him getting on his private jet in a sling last weekend. So...
Oh, wow.
I was actually surprised when I was watching the race and I looked down the order and I see Justin Cooper. I'm like, what the fuck? He was in a sling a week ago. Like, what do you mean? But yes, I guess he has crazy. A cracked collarbone. So they called. He said, no, I can't do it. I got this cracked collarbone. And then I guess whoever it was at Star was like, well, what do you think about Webb? And then they went to Webb, and Webb said, let me call you back. And then he went and jumped on Deegan's bike and rode like 5 laps outdoors on it and said, yep, I'm in.
Sick.
Yep. So
that's awesome.
I tell you what, it's as soon as that happened, I'm sure you've seen this. Everybody jumped on well, why isn't Deegan going then? Because he said the team wouldn't let him go.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yep.
And I'll be honest,
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't fault him for not going, but just come out and say, like, look, dude, I got to get a couple screws removed out of my wrist. I don't want to go. Just say it. It's fine.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, because last year he didn't go, I was told, because of the team.
Yep.
Because the team wanted Webb to go.
Yep.
And they were like, no, we want Deegan, we don't want Webb.
Yep.
And so that's what I had heard from last year's. And so I was like, okay, whatever, not his fault. But now this year, to act like he acts as Captain America, and to not, I would understand if he was getting surgery fucking today on his wrist to get those pins out, but I saw online he's not getting it done until next week.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, you have to wait 7 days.
Yep.
Like, don't come at us telling me, oh, I gotta get these pins out and I want to be ready for Supercross, but you're not even gonna rush to get it done.
Yep.
Like, that's just, to me, that's whack. That's lame.
100% agree.
So that makes you think, why is he really not going?
Yeah, exactly.
Does he not want to spend the money to go?
Yep.
Does he, like, is he just burnt out and just doesn't feel like doing an extra couple weeks of training and going? Like, what is the real reason? Because to me, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up for how he acts.
Yep. Nope, I 100% agree.
So,
100% agree. So,
yeah, I saw him replying to someone on Instagram saying, "I ride for our country every weekend by
oh boy,
winning and taking
yeah,
taking our money instead of letting it be paid to somebody that came over from the GPs."
Oh,
So
boy.
like throwing shade at Vial and stuff. And I'm
Oh,
just
boy.
like, dude, that's not representing your country.
No,
Like,
no,
I'm sorry, but that's not.
that's a terrible response. So,
Yeah, I'm like, you just, dude, like, just save yourself and just tell people you just don't want to go this year.
yeah, exactly,
Like, but
exactly.
I agree with Chase. People that say no for like no real reason should not be allowed to be picked the next year,
Yep,
especially when it's on home turf.
yep,
Because it's convenient and
yep.
easy.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
Like, I think right now they should not. I don't care how good Deegan is next year. They shouldn't call him.
Well, if you listen to Justin, he's going to ride 450s next year after he wins that 250 title anyway. So,
Who?
one of my co-hosts, Justin, he's
Yep.
convinced that after Deegan wins the Supercross title, he'll go 450 outdoors. And I'm like, you're high. He's going to run that #1 plate outdoors, and then he'll run the #1 in SMX again, and then he'll run the #1 in Supercross, and then he'll go outdoors in 26.
So you think he's
on a
going to win
450.
Supercross next year?
I mean, he has to be the favorite. Dude. Who else you going to pick over him?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I would agree with that. I think that is probably what he will do.
Yeah.
I don't see him going to a 450 outdoors next year.
No, I don't either. Like I said, 26, yes. He'll go outdoors. He'll still be on Star. He'll ride that Star 450 outdoors there. And then going into 27, you'll see the Deegan 38 team come to light.
Yeah.
So,
you don't think it'll be sooner?
No. No, he'll be on Star till he goes full-time 450.
All right.
It costs too much to build a 250 like and keep it running. And I know you'd said that you'd heard like that Yamaha's fully backing them with whatever they want to do, but nah, I still think he'll be Star Racing Yamaha until 2027, and then it'll be then the Deegan 38 team will come out.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Nope, not at all. So, well, all right, buddy. Thanks for calling in here, or thanks for answering the phone. I guess I should say.
Having me.
No problem. Yeah, I guess I'll be in touch. Maybe we'll do something in the off season here. I know I'm trying to do some in studio local pro guest or whatever. I talked to your dad the other day about doing a history of Geico Honda deal, and he told me I had to come out to the house in Massachusetts and we could do it in the museum.
Yeah.
So I think that's on the docket for Southwick time next year.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So yeah. So all right, man. Well, we'll be in touch. I appreciate you. Being on here this year for these final however many rounds we've done here. It's super cool, and we'll definitely do this segment here in 2025 if you want to do it. So
yeah, I'll renew the contract.
oh, perfect. I'll write it up. I'll have my people send it to your people. All right.
Perfect. Sounds good to me.
All right. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Thanks for having me.